If you are just starting your business, maybe you're starting your agency, and you go online and you see all of these people talking about making $10,000 a month, and you tell yourself, that must be nice, but it feels so daunting. I'm gonna tell you why it's actually easier than you think to actually get to $10,000 a month in your business in the next 90 days. So for those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Jimmy Fung. I'm a 23-year-old based out of Toronto, Canada. And in this video, I want to explain to you exactly, step by step, why getting to $10,000 a month is much easier than you might have imagined, and how you're able to realistically do this in the next 90 days if you follow and go through everything that I'm about to share with you today. So what you're seeing right now is my actual Stripe account. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because I want to show you that I've been in your shoes starting at zero, and I was actually able to get to $10,000 a month basically in 60-ish days after I started and launched my lead generation agency. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because, again, there's a lot of people online talking about making money. And it's very easy to say, oh, I made $10,000 a month, but I guarantee you they will never be able to show, pull up the Stripe account and show you that they've actually done the thing that they're talking about, right? So this is my Stripe account. I don't want to scroll too low because there is personal information of the people that I'm working with. But basically what you see is I started my business in October 2022. And right now the dates are January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022. And you can see I made no money, right? From January all the way into December, and boom, it spiked up to $10,500 in December. Right? So I started my business again in October 2022. I was at $0. And then by December, I was able to make $10,500 and $502.70, right? And just to show you that I didn't manipulate these numbers, right? I'm actually going to switch this over to specific dates. So I'm going to put December 1st to zoom in a little bit. And you can see I actually collected this $10,000 in a 22-day period, right? And obviously the reason why it's 22 days is because in December, people start taking holidays. People aren't at their, at their desk working, stuff of that nature. So I stopped taking sales calls after December 22nd in 2022. And we see my very first client actually paid me $3,000. My next client paid me $2,500, and then I made $5,000, $2,500 each on December 22nd. And across these 22 days, I made $10,502.70. And again, I'm just gonna switch the view just so you know I didn't manipulate the numbers, right? You can see all these graphs and stuff like that change. But that's what that looks like, right? And I was able to go from $0 to $10,000 a month in a 22-day period in December 2022. Awesome. So jumping right into the diagram. So you already know this is going to be a good video and full of value. This video is about why getting to $10,000 per month is significantly easier than you think. And I know when I first started, making $10,000 a month was my initial goal. And I always thought it was this big daunting mountain that I just had to climb and had to figure out, and it would take me half a year, it would take me a year to make $10,000. But for me, I was able to get to $10,000 a month basically in the first 60 days of my business. I started my lead generation agency in October 2022. And by December 2022, I actually hit $10,000 in my month. I actually made $10,500 in 22 days. But I'm going to explain to you why I personally think hitting $10,000 a month is much easier than you think. And if you take everything I show you today and actually take action, then it is very reasonable for you to get to $10,000 a month in the next 90 days, right? And when I first started, I didn't buy any courses, I didn't do any mentorships, and I was able to figure it out in 60-ish days, 2.5-ish months. So if you are looking to get started, then just take action, and it is completely possible. So jumping right into it, here is the breakdown of $10,000 a month and what that actually looks like, because $10,000 a month is just kind of a number. 10,000, it doesn't mean too much. And it's actually very easy, because if you think about making $10,000 a month in your business, what that actually means is you only need to sign 4 clients. And if each of these 4 clients, if one single client is paying you $2,500, $2,500, then you just need 4 of them and you're already at $10,000 per month. And I know this might sound really easy, but it kind of is, right? It's simple, but not easy. And I know my first client paid me $3,000. So $2,500 is actually a little bit lower than that, but you only need 4 people to get to $10,000 a month, right? If one client is paying you $2,000 to $3,000, it's really not that hard, right? If you try really hard for the next 3 months, and you're sending cold emails every single day and following standard processes, you're focusing on the right things every single day, there's just no way that you don't sign at least one client, and that one client is already $2,500, $2,000, $3,000 a month for your own business, right? And once you figure out and how to get that first client, it's just a matter of taking what you already did and just scaling that up and getting 3 more people, right? And we're not talking about signing 50 clients here. That's not what I'm talking about. That's a completely different thing. I'm only talking about signing and selling your service to 4 different clients. So it's relatively simple. It's definitely not easy, but it's relatively simple. So what I actually did is I created this chart, which is the 5 steps you want to take in order to get to $10,000 a month in the next 90 days. And obviously, all of these things, I wrote it out in a very basic way so that you don't get overwhelmed, you don't get too confused, but there's really only 5 things that you need to focus on and worry about in order to get to $10,000 a month in the next 90 days, right? So obviously, step 1 is figure out what it is that you're selling. Is your service valuable? Right? If you're selling, let's say, Facebook ads, right? That service by itself, or if you're selling video editing, that service by itself, it does provide utility, but it might not be the most valuable service as a business owner, right? I get tons of DMs every single day, but with people pitching me copywriting or people pitching me video editing services, and I look at them and sometimes I reply and tell them I'm not interested, but the reason why I'm not interested is because that service is not inherently valuable. If you're selling lead generation as a service, that service is valuable. And obviously I'm a little bit biased because I run a lead generation agency, but I genuinely believe it is one of the best services that you could be selling, because what you're basically telling these business owners, these people that you're selling, is, hey, I will help you get more customers. Hey, I will help you make more money. And inherently that is a service that, you know, it will make you more money, right? If you do it correctly and you work with these clients, you will make them more money. And who doesn't want to make more money, right? So make sure your first step is figure out what you're selling, figure out, is your service actually valuable? Do people actually want it? And what you want to do is you want to package up your service in a very straightforward, no-brainer one-liner talking about what you do. We help these people do X, Y, and Z. And that's exactly what you want to do. And that's putting your offer together. After you figure that out, your step 2 should be, who are you selling to? So this is a niche. I have another video on my channel talking specifically about what you need to do in order to pick a good niche, how you would go about researching and understanding what they're looking for, the type of problems they have. But it's very important you pick a good niche, because if you go and sell your service to a random person, to a random niche without doing research, not only will it be very, very challenging for you to actually sell them and make money from this, but what will happen is you also run the risk of selling your service to someone who doesn't actually need it, or to people who don't make money, right? And for me, the reason why I was able to charge $3,000 as my first client is because I work with a high ticket industry, right? So I'm not afraid to tell you, a lot of people gatekeep that information. I work with recruitment agencies, and half the reason why is because I like working with them. I like their vibe. But the main reason why is because they make so much money. If you're not familiar with recruitment agencies, go do some research on it. Basically, every single role that they fill for these companies, they take 30% of the salary. So if they're filling roles that pay $100,000 USD, then they're making $30,000 inside the recruitment agency. And if those recruitment agencies are making $30,000 from selling a service, then obviously they're able to pay me $3,000, right? Because the math does make sense. But if you're working with a niche where they only charge, let's say, really low ticket, let's say $100, $200, $500, even $1,000, then the math just doesn't work, and it'll be very challenging for you to sell your service at $2,000 a month, $2,500 a month, $3,000 a month. So it's very important that you pick a really good niche, and more importantly, pick a niche where there is demand for what you sell. So lead generation is a service, if that is your service, and making sure that they make enough money so you are able to demand thousands of dollars for your services. So after step 2 is step 3, which is, how do you get their attention? And I think a lot of people struggle in this section. How do you actually get eyeballs on your business? And there's a bunch of different ways to go about doing this. But the overall premise is you need to be waking up every single day and asking yourself, what can I do today to get my business, get my offer, to get what I sell in front of as many people as humanly possible? And obviously the way I do that is by leveraging cold emails. Other channels are paid ads, shoutouts, stuff of that nature. But I personally found cold emails to be the best due to its scalability. is relatively low cost compared to, let's say, paid ads. And the fact that you're able to just send emails and get in front of thousands of people every single day, right? And if you're doing that correctly, you have good deliverability, you're saying the right message, it's really hard not to get attention on your business. If you're emailing 1,500 people every single day, getting in front of them with your offer and asking if they're interested in learning more, it's really hard to fail in this section of getting attention for your business. So obviously we do that using cold emails. After that, step 4 is how do you warm up your leads? So this is also a section where most people actually struggle because people think you could just copy someone else's cold email script, whip out your own campaign, send it, and you instantly book a ton of meetings and get a ton of customers. But that's really not how it works, because the biggest thing you have to understand is, especially when you're doing cold outreach, so cold emails, the people you're reaching out to, they don't know who you are, nor do they trust you. So how do you think it's possible to charge $2,000, $3,000 when someone does not even know who you are, they don't know what you look like, and they don't even know what you sell? For all they know, you could be a scammer. So there's a very specific process you want to implement in order to warm up these leads. I leverage something called a VSL. I found it to be very, very effective. It's a video sales letter. I have another video on my channel talking about how to craft effective video sales letters. And if you do this process correctly, this is the kind of the mechanism that takes these people who don't know or trust you and turn them into people who know who you are, who like what you do, understand what you do, and is willing to, pay you thousands of dollars for your services, right? And this is kind of the key secret. I have a really great video talking about the funnel of how we personally do this using cold emails myself, for my agency, for my clients, for all the people I'm working with. And when people come to me and tell me their cold emails didn't work, the number one thing I ask them is, hey, do you have a VSL? And the answer is almost always no. So if you don't have a VSL, or you don't have an effective mechanism that allows you to warm up these cold leads, get them to trust you and get them to know you, then you're setting up yourself for failure. But if you are able to implement a VSL and do it the right way, it will be so much easier to collect money at the end of a sales call. Step 5 is actually selling your service. So this is when you jump onto a Zoom call, you talk about what you do, you ask them questions to understand what the prospect's business is, and to identify if they have a problem that you can then solve, right? You're essentially selling your service, and there is a good way to increase your closing rates even if you've never taken a single sales call in your life, and that's by leveraging something called pre-nurturing content. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see with people doing cold outbound, cold outreach, cold emails is, even if they are able to get replies and they're able to book meetings on their calendar, people are not using and leveraging pre-nurturing sales assets. So what that means is, once people book in a call, you need to continue to show up in front of them, show to them that you're real, show to them that you can get the result, and explain your process in detail, right? So a lot of people are actually missing this step. I have no clue why, but it's no secret why people jump onto these sales calls, and the first, they ask these prospects, hey, why do you book in a call? And the prospects are already defensive. They already have the guards up. That's the reason why, is because these people, they don't trust you and they don't know you. And I know I've been saying that a lot. The reason why is because that's the largest challenge for cold outbound, is people do not know or trust you. So you always have to think about, what can I do to increase the trust with these people, get them to know who I am, and get them to understand what I sell and how I can help them. And if you're able to answer this question and do it efficiently, then your process of closing a client becomes really, really efficient, and it becomes a very scalable and leveraged aspect of your business, where down the line, you don't necessarily need to be thinking about how you will acquire your next customer, because this process is just super repeatable, but you obviously have to do it the right way. So these are kind of the 5 steps that you want to take in order to scale to $10,000 a month in the next 90 days. The best news is if you're watching this video and you feel overwhelmed, I made YouTube videos talking about every single aspect of these 5 steps. And even the people I'm working with one-on-one, right? So I work with people to help them build their own lead generation agencies, go from $0 to $10,000 a month in the next 90 days. I show them and walk them through every part of this process. And obviously there are more details than this, but for the purposes of this video, I wanted to keep it high level so you don't get overwhelmed and you understand exactly what you need to do, and the 5 key components that will allow and pretty much make your life a lot easier, right? As you go and build your business and get it to $10,000 a month. So what you're seeing right now is my smartly.ai account. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh this right in front of you just so you know I didn't change numbers, manipulate the numbers. There's a lot of people out there online lying and stuff like that. But this is a campaign I sent to recruitment agencies a few months ago at the end of September, October, that type of thing. So this is pretty new, and you could know that what I'm sharing with you actually works. It's not some outdated information. And what you're seeing is in this campaign that I started on September 10th, 2023, I reached out to basically 5,000 leads. I got almost 1,000 replies, so 20% reply rates. But of those 1,000 people, I got 67 positive replies. And obviously, these 67 replies, these positive replies, are people who replied back to my emails. They're interested in what I have to do. I sent them over to my VSL, and they came back asking me a question or basically saying, hey, Jimmy, I love what you do. Let's set up a time to chat, to learn more, to see how you can help me. So these 67 people, I don't have concrete data telling you how many sales calls I booked because I booked so many from these. But let's assume that 50% of these 67 positive replies actually ended up booking a call, and 50% is on the lower end. But just to keep the numbers conservative, let's assume 33 people booked a sales call with me. So these are kind of my numbers. I use Smartly.ai to send emails every single day. I send 1,500 cold emails towards these recruitment agencies. And this is kind of the data that suggests what I'm doing. So jumping back into the diagram, I put a screenshot of the campaign. The reason it says 21,000 here is because I reached out to, let's say, 5,000 people. Let's round up 4,800 to 5,000 people. And what I do is I follow up with these people 4 to 5 times. Hence, it is 21,312. But I actually reached out to 4,814 completely new leads. These are all business owners who run recruitment agencies. And obviously, these are the stats. I just ran through them with you. And the reason I'm showing you this is to show you how easy it actually is to sign clients and get to $10,000 a month, right? So let's assume I reached out to 5,000 leads, and of those 5,000 people, I got 67 really high intent replies. So again, these are people, I reached out to them, they replied wanting to hear more about my services, and they actually watched my video sales letter, which I sent them. And they probably replied back asking some form of question or saying, hey, Jimmy, let's set up a time to chat and see what this could look like for my own business. So let's assume I have a 50% booking rate, which again is on the lower end. That would mean I booked 33 sales calls of these 67 high intent replies. And let's assume of these 33 sales calls, my closing rate was 25%, which again is on the lower end, because if you're leveraging the video sales letter correctly, the main idea is returning people who don't trust or know you and warming them up so that they do know and trust you. And the reason why you're able to do that is because on these sales calls, your closing rate will be really, really high. Because if people don't know and trust you, they'll jump onto these calls and ask you a lot of questions specifically about how does this work? How can you help me? But if you leverage the video sales letter correctly, you're warming these people up and building trust and building rapport. But more importantly, the type of questions you'll be getting on these sales calls will be completely different. It'll become more of questions about logistically, how does this work? What does timelines work for me? What is the price of your service? Those type of questions. And at that point, it's more so for you to figure out if you can actually help them and if you think there's a good fit to work with these people, rather than you going in and aggressively pitching people, aggressively persuading, aggressively convincing people, because I don't do that at all. And let's assume your closing rate is 25%, which is very, very low. Inside my own agency is between 50 and 60% closing rates because I have the VSL process dialed and I do all of these processes the right way in the most efficient way. But let's assume you've never taken a sales call in your life. You don't know what the hell you're saying. Let's say your closing rate is 25%, which is really bad. That would mean you still have 8 clients. Now, back to the example, let's assume you're charging $2,000 setup fee, which is on the lower end because most people I work with charge between $2,500 and $3,000. My first client was $3,000. That would mean that you made $16,000 from this campaign. You're reaching out to 5,000 people. You're running them through your sales funnel, your sales process. And at the end of it all, it means you made $16,000. And that is already a lot more than $10,000. That's $6,000 more than $10,000, right? And the reason why I'm showing you is because it's very easy for people online to tell you, hey, making $10,000 a month is very easy. It's a piece of cake. It's very simple. But what people don't show you is the numbers that back that up, kind of the evidence that proves to you that it actually is easier than you think. That's actually much, much more simple, and you don't need to be a wizard at this process to make it happen. And these are the numbers to kind of show you that if I'm able to do it, then you are able to implement this exact same process inside of your own business and make it happen for you as well. So hopefully this shows you how easy it is to make $10,000 and why it's actually much, much more simple than you think. So moving on to kind of, just to give you more proof as to why, obviously I'm someone who was able to do it, but maybe you don't completely trust that because maybe I know what I'm doing, or maybe I got really lucky, or this or that. And these are kind of 3 examples of people that I'm working with one-on-one. These are people who are looking to build their own lead generation agencies. They all started at $0 and they're looking to get to $10,000 a month. We have the first guy, Sadiq. He's actually a 23-year-old living in Pakistan. And he was able to sign his first client within 10 days of launching his cold email campaign. And the key word is he's from Pakistan. So if you live in Canada, you live in USA, you live in the UK, or any other major English country, then there's literally no reason why you cannot do the exact same thing and sign your first client within the next week, 2 weeks, that type of thing, right? He's a 23-year-old from Pakistan. If he was able to make it happen, you 100% can as well, right? So he was able to sign his first client within 10 days of launching the campaign. We have this guy, Alex. He got his first meeting request. He got it over the holidays, over the Christmas break. Alex actually isn't building a lead generation agency. He runs a landing page agency. So using this exact same process of cold emails, the VSLs, he was able to get his first client, get his first meeting relatively quickly. And then finally, we have Kate. She runs a lead generation service for coaches and consultants. And she was able to book her first 2 sales calls with her email campaigns. And she literally started this email campaign, I think 3 or 4 days prior to her sending this message. So this process works really quickly. And if you're able to move with speed and move with urgency and actually do all of these things, then you will get results relatively quickly, right? And I think that's one of the best parts of the system is it doesn't take you 3 months to get results. It doesn't take you half a year to sign your first client. This is something that could literally happen as soon as 2 weeks, assuming you do all of these things, you do them correctly, and you do them the right way, and you actually take action. I think that's the main thing. And these are kind of 3 examples of people who are able to use this exact same system, apply it inside their business, and make it work and get results relatively quickly. Right, so kind of the key takeaways. I know we talked a bit, a lot about a lot of stuff in this video. And if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, here are some of the key takeaways, kind of as a summary for what we talked about in this video today. So the number one thing you need to focus on is selling a valuable service and packaging it up with a grand slam offer. So what is it exactly you sell, and how can you put your marketing glasses on and make it sound appealing to the people you're reaching out to? The second one is making sure you're working with a niche that has a problem you can solve and making sure that they make enough money so that you can actually charge $2,000 or $3,000 every single month. Again, if you're working with people who only make $500 per customer inside their business, then the math kind of breaks and it just doesn't work with this model. So make sure you're selling to a high ticket audience. The third one is making sure you're focusing on building trust. I talked a lot about that. The people you reach out to, they don't know who you are and they don't trust you. So you need to wake up and ask yourself, what can I do to increase the trust of the people I'm reaching out to? Make it look like you're not a scammer. Make it so when people Google up your name, you actually exist on Google. You have a YouTube channel. You have a LinkedIn presence. Do all of those things, and all of those things combined will add a lot of trust. And make sure you're posting content, making sure you're creating a VSL in order to do so. I want you to wake up every single day and I want you to ask yourself, how can I generate more attention and eyeballs for what I do? Because if you're struggling to make money in your business, then what you likely have is an attention problem. People just don't know who you are. Or better yet, not enough people know who you are. So if you're only reaching out to 100 people a day, 200 people a day, I think the first course I ever took when I was running my email marketing agency, that person told me to manually send emails and send 30 cold emails a day. And I'm here to tell you, that will not cut it in 2024. Reaching out to 30 people a day, meaning only 30 people, new people know about your business, is not going to get the job done. You need to be doing this in thousands. Volume negates luck, for a lack of better words, right? And finally, the last point is if you book enough meetings for yourself, you will make money. And it's kind of inevitable. It's the law of probability. If you're able to set up 50 sales calls for your own business, you will close one person. Realistically, you close a lot more than one person. But hopefully you understand my example, right? If you have enough sales calls inside your business, then closing clients will not be your concern because you just have an abundance of sales opportunities for you to get better at sales and for you to actually close more deals, right? So in this video, I wanted to put this quick video together to kind of show you how it's actually easier than you think to get to $10,000 a month. And if you follow this exact framework, you follow these 5 steps, you go through those YouTube videos and actually take action, then you will make money and you will get to $10,000 a month within the next few months, right? And obviously, if you're looking to build your own lead generation agency, I'm working with a bunch of people right now on a one-on-one level, helping them scale from $0 to $10,000 a month in the next 90 days by walking them through every step of this process, right? So as they go through these things, they're crafting the offer, picking their niche, writing their cold emails, as they get stuck, as they have questions, I'm working with them one-on-one to figure out, what can be changed, what can be improved. If your cold emails are sending, why is it not working? And if you're interested in getting direct help from me, and basically going from $0 to $10,000 a month in the next 90 days, then I included my link in the calendar below. Make sure you set up a time. But the only thing I will say is my day-to-day is very busy. I'm working with a bunch of people now. I have clients. I run my own agency. And if you're trying to set up a call to ask me a question about how this works, please do not do that. I put these YouTube videos so that it answers 95% of your questions. But if you do have a question that you just, for whatever reason, can't seem to find the answer, then DM me on Instagram and I'll reply back to you with an answer. But if you set up a call, please be serious about starting your own lead generation agency, getting it to $10,000 in the next 90 days. Make sure you're committed to the process, and I'll see you there. Thank you. Bye-bye.